What if Mace Windu listened to Anakin Skywalker when Anakin said that Palpatine must stand trial? That's what we're going to explore today. I hope you enjoy, had a lot of fun writing this one, and happy Ahsoka August. We are so close to the show, I'm so excited. It's good to have Star Wars back, so hope you enjoy today's video, and let's get right into it. Anakin Skywalker ran through the red halls to find a lightsaber duel coming to an end. Mace Windu had cornered the Chancellor, Anakin's mentor, and Anakin ran up to the both of them, conflict burning through him as he wondered what to do next. He heard Mace Windu threatening the Chancellor, saying that he was going to end this, once and for all, and Anakin did what he had to do, jumping in to say that he needs Palpatine, he must stand trial. Mace said that he was too dangerous to be left alive, as he controls the Senate and the courts. Anakin bit back, asking Mace if he was going to kill all of them too, just like Palpatine had predicted. Anakin yelled that it's not the Jedi way, this is what the Sith would want, Anakin was trying to tell Mace. And as Mace raised his lightsaber, he realized Anakin was right. The man the Council had kept from being a master because he wasn't mature enough was right. Mace was letting the Sith win if he struck Palpatine down in cold blood. He extinguished his lightsaber. Palpatine seemed confused, and was about to let out another torrent of lightning, but as he rose his hands to the Jedi, he looked down, and his hands were gone. Then he looked to Anakin, his blue blade ignited by his side. In one swift move, he cut off the hands of Sidious. With Mace trusting him, Anakin had to do what he had to do here, and now Sidious's lightning was no use. He had no choice but to surrender, for now. Mace Windu put restraints behind his back, locking his forearms together, as him and Anakin escorted the Sith Lord back to their transport. 3 Jedi were lost, but they gave their lives to bring victory for the Jedi Order and for the Republic. And as they moved to board the transport, clones and senators watched with confusion and shock as the Jedi took the Chancellor away. What was going on, they all wondered. And Palpatine was placed in a secure cell inside the Jedi Temple Detention Center. He was a Jedi prisoner for now. Mace went to the council chambers, calling an emergency meeting. Everyone would answer, and it was quickly noticeable that the 3 seats were now unoccupied. They formerly belonged to Kit Fisto, Saesee Tiin, and Aegon Kolar. And Mace explained that the sacrifice of the 3 of them made to bring the Sith Lord to justice. The council stirred with confusion. As of this moment, only Yoda, Mace, and Anakin knew that Palpatine was Sidious. So when Mace revealed the truth to the council, a great sadness overcame them. Palpatine is Sidious. The council members barely heard the words. Their meaning was too large for their minds to even gather all at once. This revelation meant that all they've done in the war, all that has been done to them, all that the Jedi Order has suffered and accomplished, all that the Jedi and the galaxy have gone through, suffering, death, destruction for years of the Clone Wars, it was all done for nothing, because all of it was done to save the Republic, a Republic that had already been gone, a Republic that fell long before the war even began. The failing Republic had been defended by the Jedi Order, which had been commanded by the Dark Lord of the Sith. Yoda looked around to the council members. He even felt some anger, hatred, the dark side. So he spoke up and said that this could all still be salvaged. For all the suffering the Dark Lord has caused, he could be brought to justice for all of it. Ki-Adi-Mundi spoke up, saying Windu should have killed him when he had the chance. But then Plo Koon spoke, a rather rare occurrence, and said that Windu did the right thing. He did his duty as a Jedi. And after a moment, Windu spoke up again, saying he nearly failed, and would have failed, if it weren't for Anakin. Anakin looked up for the first time in a while to see Mace looking at him, not with the stone-cold stare he usually had, but instead looking at Anakin with compassion, understanding in his eyes. Anakin thought to himself that Mace doesn't understand the half of what was going through his head, but he returned the calm gaze. And after a moment, Obi-Wan asked what the status of Palpatine was, and Windu said that he would wait for all of the council members to return to Coruscant for a hearing with the Senate. In that time, they should attempt to find any evidence to back up their claim that Palpatine is a separatist leader. And the council dispersed. As everyone left, Yoda had Anakin wait behind. When they were alone, The blue hologram of Yoda told Anakin that he'd been meditating on their previous conversation. Anakin remembered going to Yoda about his nightmares, and he remembered hating the response from the Grand Master. Today, Yoda said that his meditation, along with a conversation with Windu about the moment before Palpatine was arrested, had given the Grand Master a new perspective. It was clear to Yoda that Palpatine had built a relationship with Anakin for a reason. He wanted Anakin to join the dark side. Yoda told Anakin that the dark side is a pathway to many unnatural abilities. Visions and dreams can be twisted, even in a Jedi, if they have an attachment strong enough to be manipulated. Anakin didn't know what to say, but Yoda smiled at him and said that he did well, and the Jedi Order has much to reconsider about their ways, not saying anything about Padme or anything like that. Then Yoda told Anakin that when this was all over, he could very well become a Jedi Master. The hologram of Yoda blinked out, and Anakin was left alone. Could the dreams have actually been from Palpatine, he wondered? And would he soon be a Jedi Master? This was good news, and after some time, he took off, still conflicted, to visit the Sith Lord. While still on Utapau, Obi-Wan was searching for anything to use as evidence. He and the rest of the council knew that Palpatine probably had something up his sleeve. The Senate hearing would not be easy, and any evidence would be welcomed. He had as good a shot as anyone to find evidence, with this being the last known hideout of the separatists, and after hours of searching, he found encrypted flight logs from the most recent shuttle to take off from here, from Utapau to Mustafar. So, Obi-Wan quickly took off for Mustafar, and he contacted Master Plo Koon to meet him there. He just finished a campaign on Cato Nemoidia, the homeworld of separatist leader Newt Gunray. Perhaps he could help in negotiations with the separatist leaders. Back on Coruscant, Anakin made his way into the detention center. Palpatine was sitting calmly, facing the door, and when Anakin walked in, the Sith Lord gave the gentle smile that Anakin knew. But this was not the same man. His face was badly scarred, deformed, burned. Or maybe this is what the Sith Lord looked like all the time. Either way, Anakin shuddered a bit as he looked into the yellow eyes of the Sith Lord. Palpatine looked down to where his hands used to be, and told Anakin this must be his signature move, first to Dooku, and now to him. Anakin did not apologize, merely said he was doing his duty, that he needed to arrest him, as he was a separatist. He'd manipulated the war, manipulated him, Padme, Obi-Wan, the entire Order. And for what? For power? Palpatine shook his head and told Anakin his methods may have been brutal, but he said the war made it clear how deep corruption ran in the Republic. Palpatine said that this was the only way to truly bring peace. In order to rebuild, you must first tear everything holding you back, Palpatine said. Standing up now, he said the same metaphor could apply to Anakin. In order to rebuild to make himself stronger, strong enough to save Padme, he must tear down what holds him back. Upon hearing Padme's name, Anakin remembered what Yoda said about the Sith manipulating visions, and Anakin now accused Palpatine of doing so. The Sith Lord denied it, but then said that even if he did send Anakin these visions, he would only have been showing him what the future looks like, unless he were to do something to drastically change it, and Palpatine gave another smile. Anakin noted Palpatine's voice getting a bit more desperate, as he asked Anakin to join him. Together, they could dismantle the Jedi and the Republic, and they could truly bring peace. Anakin turned away. Part of him wanted to kill Sidious. Part of him wanted to join him. But most of all, he just needed to get away from all of it. All he said was that Palpatine was wrong about the Jedi assassination plot. Palpatine said that they will see if that is true after the Senate hearing, and Anakin left to find Padme for the first time since everything went down. On Mustafar, Obi-Wan landed on a platform next to Jedi Master Plo Koon. The two Jedi got out of their ships and walked towards a building with a separatist transport next to it. Upon walking in, they easily cut down the droid's standing guard and walked into the room of separatist leaders. Obi-Wan, known around the galaxy as the Negotiator, pulled seats at a table and invited the separatists to join him. They were of no threat to the Jedi, and the Jedi could have easily destroyed them if necessary, but right now, they were needed. Discussions got underway with Plo Koon and Obi-Wan, talking mainly with Newt Gunray about Dooku dead, Grievous destroyed, and Darth Sidious captured. The name Sidious hit a nerve, and Kenobi went on to say that Sidious was Palpatine, playing both sides of the war. His goal now was to destroy both the Jedi and the separatist leaders. Of course, Obi-Wan didn't actually know his true intentions, but it was a good scare tactic for the cowardly separatist leaders. Negotiations continued on, and in the end there was one key goal: for Newt Gunray to testify to the Senate that Darth Sidious, separatist leader, is real and is also Palpatine, the Republic leader, and in turn, all separatist planets would be welcomed back into the Republic. That was the goal of negotiations as they continued on, with time running out to get back in time for the hearing. And on Coruscant, Anakin and Padme were together again, and Padme was trying to get Anakin to talk about what was wrong. After some time, Anakin said he wondered if the Jedi were wrong. Maybe Palpatine had a point about all the corruption in the Republic, and a teardown being necessary, and there was still a possibility that only Palpatine could save Padme. But Padme was having none of this. She said that, yes, there is massive corruption in the Republic, but wartime and having a Chancellor secretly encouraging nefarious dealings will do that. What needs to truly happen is a new Chancellor being put into place and restoring the Republic to what it can be at its best. Padme said that if Anakin could not see that if Anakin joined Palpatine, then the two of them would go from lovers to enemies just like that. And Anakin knew this to be true. He was still having trouble shaking off the realization that his mentor was a manipulative Sith Lord, but with the help of Padme and the Jedi, he could keep the dark side at bay. And at the Jedi Temple, Mace Windu and the rest of the council members aside from Kenobi and Plo Koon were back here. He wanted to wait for the two of them to start the trial, but the Senate and citizens were quickly getting angry at the silence from the Jedi. Riots were beginning, and senators were calling the Jedi traitors for arresting the Chancellor without reason. Things were getting out of hand quickly, so Mace, Yoda, and the rest of the council prepared for the hearing by bringing Palpatine to the Senate. Despite having captured the Sith Lord, the entire Jedi Council, along with many other masters, sat in the Senate chambers with extremely tense anticipation. There were maybe around 100 Jedi total for this, and if they knew that if anyone had contingencies for a situation, it would be Palpatine. The hearing began with Mace Windu describing what happened. He said the Jedi found out that Palpatine was a Sith Lord, just like Count Dooku, and had been playing both sides of the war. The Senate didn't know what to make of any of this, and soon it was Palpatine's turn to speak. Looking to the crowd, he said they would soon understand the true intentions of the Jedi when he was finished. He looked to Mas Amedda, and a secret audio recording began to play, taken from Palpatine's desk. Windu recognized it immediately. It was the conversation right before Sidious attacked. Mas Amedda said the following is a transcript of an audio recording presented before the Galactic Senate. Palpatine spoke in the audio recording. "Why, Master Windu? What a pleasant surprise." Mace Windu, "Hardly a surprise, Chancellor, and it will be pleasant for neither of us." Palpatine, "I'm sorry." Master Fisto, "Hello." Master Kolar, "Greetings, I trust you are well." Master Tin, "I see your horn has regrown. I'm very glad. What brings 4 Jedi Masters to my office at this hour?" Mace Windu, "We know who you are, what you are. We are here to take you into custody." Palpatine, "I beg your pardon. What I am? When I last checked, I was Supreme Chancellor of the Republic that you are sworn to serve. I hope I misunderstand what you mean by custody, Master Windu. It sounds like treason." Mace Windu, "You're under arrest." Palpatine, "Really, Master Windu? You cannot be serious. On what charge?" Mace Windu, "You're a Sith Lord." Palpatine, "Am I? Even if true, that's hardly a crime. My philosophical outlook is a personal matter. In fact, the last time I read the Constitution anyway, we have very strict laws against this type of persecution. So I ask you again, what is my crime? How do you expect to justify your mutiny before the Senate? Or do you intend to arrest the Senate as well?" Mace Windu, "We're not here to argue with you." Palpatine, "No, you're here to imprison me without trial, without even the presence of legality. So this is the plan at last. The Jedi are taking over the Republic." Mace Windu, "Come with us, now." Palpatine, "I shall do no such thing. If you intend to murder me, you can do so right here." Mace Windu, don't try to resist. Then there was sounds in the background of the recording, identified as several lightsabers. Palpatine, resist? How could I possibly resist? This is murder, you Jedi traitors. How can I be of any threat to you? Master Tin, you're the telepath. What am I thinking right now? And sounds of scuffle were heard in the recording, and then Kit Fisto was heard saying, Sazy! And Sazy Tin died there. You couldn't hear it exactly, but the plop of his head on the ground. Palpatine, help! Security! Someone help me! Murder! Treason! And the recording ended. Palpatine observed the reactions of the Senate. They were in uproar. Palpatine spoke when it quieted, saying the Jedi had this planned for years. For the entire war, they had come to him with rumors of this Darth Sidious controlling it all, yet he was never seen, nor heard from. Palpatine said the Jedi used this name to draw out the war until the timing was perfect, to take over for themselves. When the time came, the Jedi came to arrest him, saying he was this Sidious, and then Palpatine looked away in fear. He said Master Windu struck down 3 of his Jedi colleagues to make it look like there was evidence of this Sidious. Then Palpatine said that Mace Windu approached him, cut off his hands, and was about to kill him when the heroic Anakin Skywalker put a stop to it all. There it was, Palpatine going all in on his greatest play, Anakin Skywalker standing by him. He needed it to work. And the Senate was in a full uproar now. Palpatine had all the evidence and the Senate bias on his side. Senators turned to yell at the Jedi. All looked lost because Windu didn't strike him down on the window ledge. And then a new pod floated to the center. On it was Newt Gunray, separatist leader with Jedi Masters Obi-Wan Kenobi and Plo Koon. They'd made it just in time. Newt Gunray began speaking, saying the separatists have decided to surrender after negotiation talks with Commanders Obi-Wan Kenobi and Plo Koon. And in turn, he had evidence of Darth Sidious being the true leader of the separatists. A recording played, the first ever holo-transmission that Sidious had sent to Gunray decades ago. He'd saved it all these years. It was a hooded figure that called himself Sidious, Dark Lord of the Sith, and detailed plans for them to work together. Gunray moved to the back of the pod now, cowering in fear, and he could have sworn he felt something closing around his throat. The Senate didn't know what to believe. Was Palpatine Sidious? It was clear that Sidious was real. What was going on? Both sides had evidence. And finally, out came a new pod, this time with Senator Padme Amidala and Anakin Skywalker, the man that Palpatine had said saved him. Anakin looked to Obi-Wan, then to Palpatine, then to Padme, the fate of the galaxy in his hands. And after a moment, he stood up, and he said that Palpatine was the liar. He was there the day of the recording, and he walked into Palpatine, killing 3 Jedi and fighting Mace Windu. Anakin said that these Jedi risked and gave up their lives for this moment, for the Republic. Palpatine controlled both sides of the war and caused suffering to trillions across the galaxy. It was over. The Senate voted, quickly coming to the conclusion that Palpatine was to be relieved of duties as Chancellor. He had lost, and he realized he no longer had the authority to call on Order 66. Fine, Sidious thought. I'll destroy them all. He didn't even need hands for this. Calling upon the full extent of his power, he created a force shield of lightning around him and sent waves of the force to the ceiling. Immediately, it began to collapse. Sidious had lost and was now trying to kill all 2,000 plus Congress members, along with the 100 or so Jedi witnessing these events. In unison, all 100 of the Jedi grabbed hold of the ceiling, keeping it together as best they could. Sidious continued blasting it with lightning and force waves, using whatever he could, and it began to crumble. The building was being evacuated by clones in a panic. It was extremely hard to hold the ceiling together, but the 100 Jedi did their best. With all of the Jedi working together, Anakin and Obi-Wan were able to break off from the group, trying to get to the center. Getting close to Sidious was near impossible with his shield, but Anakin and Obi-Wan had to try something. They formed a plan. Anakin got as far back as he could, and started sprinting directly at Sidious. He leapt into the air with the immense speed, lightsaber ignited, pointed at the shield, and while in the air, Obi-Wan pushed him forward as hard as he could. With immense speed now, Anakin crashed into the shield, but was able to barely penetrate it. Sidious was so close to blasting the entire building to the ground, and if he still had his hands, it would be over. But he looked down now to see Anakin. There was no time to hesitate for Anakin. Padme was here, and Sidious was trying to kill her with everyone else. Anakin ignited his lightsaber and cut the Sith Lord in half. He was dead instantly. The Force shield fell, and the power destroying the roof did as well. Everyone was out of the Senate chambers now except for the Jedi, and the building began to really fall now. Anakin looked to see Obi-Wan waiting for him, but now Anakin pushed him, telling him to leave with the Jedi. Obi-Wan flew backwards, landing and running back to get Anakin, but the building fell completely now. The Jedi held it up just long enough, and a huge wave of dust engulfed him and the rest of the escaped Jedi. The clones had evacuated almost all of the Senate members, and soon the dust had cleared. Obi-Wan desperately looked for Anakin. He couldn't see him anywhere. Did he sacrifice himself? The rest of the Jedi barely made it out, but then Anakin was caught in the destruction in the middle of it all. But looking deep into the dusty center, Obi-Wan saw huge pieces of the building lift, and he smiled as he saw Anakin Skywalker, injured but alive, making his way to the rest of the Jedi. Weeks later, Anakin sat with Padme in their home on Coruscant. The Republic was reformed, and now Anakin watched as Padme put their twins, Luke and Leia, to sleep. And he remembered what Yoda said to him before the Emperor died, that the orders need to change, and he was right. He stepped down as Grand Master, and Plo Koon took over. Attachments were no longer forbidden, and Anakin was able to openly have a wife. He was recently promoted to Jedi Master, despite never training a Padawan to Jedi Knight. The Council recognized that Ahsoka was about to be promoted before she left, and Anakin had just saved the Jedi Order, so that was enough to become Master. He was happy now, and wondered what would happen if Mace Windu didn't listen to him at that window. And that, folks, is our story today. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, I had fun writing it. Let me know what you thought. And yeah, Ahsoka soon, video tomorrow, and I'll see you in the next video.